You clicked on this video, so that means you're ready to reinvent yourself. I'm not even going to waste your time. We're just going to jump right into it because this past year and a half, that's all I've been doing is reinventing. And I want to tell you right now, wherever you are, that you can do it at whatever age, whoever, whether you have like 5, 6, 7 kids, no kids, you're in school, not in school, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your circumstance, it doesn't matter. You can reinvent yourself anytime. And the reason why I know this is I've reinvented myself many times, many times. Right out of high school, right out of university, after my first divorce, being a single mom, like I've reinvented myself time and time again. And if I can do it, you can do it too. And today I want to share with you specifically the tools that will accelerate it. Because this past year, I literally just accelerated the entire reinvent yourself process. And I'm ready to just share everything that I have learned. If this is your first time seeing my page or my face, my name is Roxy. I really started to take my content creation journey, which is part of my reinventing myself process, really seriously this past year. So right now we're in 2025. The beginning of 2024 is really when everything started to kick off. And it was actually one of the hardest periods of my life. It was such a difficult period in my life. And that's another story for another time, but it was really difficult. So at that moment, I had the choice to just curl up, be sad, and not do anything, or go after all of these goals that I had set for myself and that had been piling up over the years. So I have my phone here because I took some notes on the things that worked for me. And I know if they work for me, they can definitely work for you. If you feel like you are stuck, if you feel like you're always doing the same mundane things, if you tried to do something new and it didn't work, and then you tried again and it didn't work, I'm here to help you, share with you exactly what are the things that you can do to get you there, because this is exactly what I did. So this first point is honestly, it's so underrated. But once you start to master this, you're going to start seeing some crazy shifts, okay? So this is taking small steps. I remember clearly after having my daughter, I had her in 2022, and I wanted to go back and work out like 6, 7 months after giving birth, but it was really difficult. And so I told myself, you know what? Small steps. Small steps. Like I just continuously repeated those phrases to myself. You are better off making small progress than no progress at all. So this can be from anything in your wellness. Maybe you want to work out and you are thinking like, I need to go hard. No, you don't need to go hard. Go slow. Take the small steps, because when you start taking these small steps, you're actually starting to create habit. And habit is what you need formed in order to start changing your life. So small steps. And even when it came to the foods that I was eating, I love to have sweets. So you'll see me like snacking on some chocolate, a little bit of candy here. And so I had to tell myself small steps. I wasn't going to cut off any of my sweets, but I was going to have it, maybe once or twice a week. This is how change really starts to happen, is when you start changing what your body's already used to something else. Small progress is really key. This could also be organizing. You don't need to organize your entire home. Start with one section. And I would honestly suggest, if it's one section, start with a section that you're constantly going to. So if you are a makeup girly, start with your makeup. If you are somebody who writes a lot or journals or does work or has their office space, start with that space. Start with one specific area and start making small changes there. And trust me, you're going to move on to the next step and then the next step. The first thing you need to do is you need to start building the habit of creating small changes in your life. And once you start doing that, these small changes are going to become huge changes, and you're going to see yourself taking these huge leaps of changes. The best part is when you start and commit to your small changes, what you're really doing is committing to yourself, which in return reflects back and is expressed outwards. So often, the reason why people continuously fail is because they are making commitments to themselves that they're not upholding. Meaning, you may be telling yourself, hey, it's January, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to go, and you make it so difficult for yourself. And then you don't do it, and then you feel like pretty much like crap. and it's pretty much you're disappointing yourself. So we need to start getting into the habit of achieving our goals and making ourselves happy and showing that we can do it. So that's why small changes and small steps is so important. It's not about perfection, guys. It's about consistency. Once you can grasp how to be consistent with something, everything else is gonna come. So consistency is what we're after. We're not after perfection. In fact, perfection is actually a sign of insecurity. So like throw perfection out the door. Do it messy, do it imperfect. That's what you need to do. Small steps, make them imperfect. It's all good. Just take the action towards what you say you're going to do in small bite-sized steps. Now let's get into taking action. I feel like when it comes to taking action, there is like this disconnect, okay? There is this disconnect between the thoughts, the goals, everything that you have, and then the action part. For some strange reason, this just is, right? Yes, it comes with habits. You have habits, you can do small little changes, but then now how are we going to close that gap where it comes to taking action and then your thoughts and taking action? And the quickest way to do this is really to start tricking your mind, okay? So I'm going to give you guys some of the examples that I did to really start taking action. I create systems in my life, and if you guys want to see a video about this, I can do a video on how I create systems and I like habit stack, etc. But let's get into how we're going to close the gap between the thoughts, the goals, the visions that you have for yourself, and then the actions. And the way we're going to do this is by, like I said, tricking your mind. So one of the quickest way to do this is when I get on my bike to work out every night before I go to bed, I make sure and do a quick check of what needs to get done because I've established a routine. So for working out, you're going to make sure that you have your workout outfit completely ready. If you're going to the gym, put it all in your gym bag. If you are a type of person who has a lot of energy and you like to plan, this is something I used to do a few years back when I used to actually go to the gym, is I would put my planner in my gym bag. And after my workouts, take a shower there, do everything I needed to do. And then I would sit at their little cafe section that they had. And I would pull up my planner and I would look over my day. I would always look over what I did the day before. And then I would look over today and what needs to get done and what needs to get moved over. The other one is, and what I used to do then is prioritization. What are the actions that are the most priority? Focus on that. And you know how people say, tackle the big frog. So tackle the big actions. And the way you would know this is if something is scaring you, like you're scared to do it or like makes you feel uneasy, that's usually the one you need to tackle. But if you can't do that, small changes, small actions is better than no actions at all. Small actions is what's going to get you to recognize and allow you to finally start believing that you are not only an action taker, but you are literally an executor. You need to start seeing these things about yourself. And this is exactly how I started to reinvent myself and accelerate the changes. And so your thoughts and your actions. Another example is, let's say you've tried meal prepping and it's not working. Let's just say it's not working for you, okay? What you need to start doing is, what works for me is like maybe put something on your refrigerator, set the alarms, write out your grocery list. And maybe you don't want to meal prep the whole week. Pick 2 days, 3 days out of the week that you can meal prep and just do those 2 days. Maybe you want to just meal prep only your breakfast. Maybe you only want to meal prep your dinners. Pick one. You don't have to meal prep the whole day. Once you've been able to accomplish meal prepping one meal, you'll be able to do it the whole meal, right? I hope this is starting to make sense because too often what's happening is you have so many thoughts, but then you're not taking the action because it may seem overwhelming. You may look at the actions and be like, it's too much. Break them down into small size bites and take action that way. All right, so now let's get into the third one, which is really about redefining your self-concept. You may be sitting here and thinking, that you are somebody who works hard. You might be thinking that everyone sees you a certain way, but it's not about how other people see you at all. It's about how do you see yourself, right? Because you are the only one who has You're the only one who is responsible for you. You're the only one responsible for your happiness. You're the only one responsible for getting to your goals, to getting to your desired outcomes. This is only your responsibility. It is no one else's responsibility. And so self-concept is like, you have to start redefining this. Do not define yourself by what other people think about you. You may have, so if a lot of people are like, oh, she's really hardworking, but behind the scenes, you're not really hitting your goals and you're not getting to where you need to get to, somehow, somewhere deep down inside, there's this part of you, the self, that believes that you maybe don't deserve it, or that you'll never get there, or that you do things wrong. But there's an underlining thing, and it usually has to do with like the subconscious mind, which is another video for another time. This is how I started to redefine my self-concept, and I really hope this helps with you, because there's no way for me to know in my subconscious mind what I'm thinking. There is no way for me to know what is buried in there, or what are the things that I took in when I was a kid. You know, I don't know what those are. I know that I've accomplished a lot in my life. I know I've done a lot of good things. I know I'm good to people, but for some strange reason, I kept hitting a block. I don't know where that block came from. I started to just do these little things for myself, especially during the past year and a half. The first thing I started to do was I owned it. You know, I said, I am responsible for my happiness. I am responsible for the things that I want to accomplish. I had to take that all on. I'm also responsible for my kids. I'm responsible to be like a mother, a wife. I'm responsible for all these things, a daughter, all of these things. I'm still responsible for these things, but I have to be responsible for myself. And what I started to do was I started to create pockets of peace. That's what I called them. I called it literally pockets of peace. And the way the pockets of peace would happen is I would choose moments where I would just dedicate to, whether it was just being still, maybe going out and getting myself some coffee. These are simple things that anyone could do. It's nothing like crazy at all, because I feel like simplicity is the easiest way to get to where you need to get to. You don't need to make things complicated or difficult. And so I started to create pockets of peace. Another thing I started to do was every month I told myself that I was going to buy myself something. This is with intention. Like, I used to do it before I had my daughter. I would go out and buy myself flowers. I would go buy myself things. And that was like an act of self-love. But I think after I had her, you just somehow like put yourself in the back burner, or you put yourself last. But in order to show up great for your children, you have to show up great for yourself. That's just what it is. Like, you cannot be great for your kids if you're not great for yourself. And I was just fortunate enough to kind of know these things because I had already practiced self-development, self-growth earlier on in my life. And so it was easy for me to kind of like bounce back in a certain way. But this time I had made the intention to really try to understand what were the things that I was doing so that I could share it. And so you really need to start creating something for yourself. And I feel like when you start to show yourself self-love, meaning maybe go out and buy flowers, go get dressed up, you know, light makeup, just do whatever it is, take a nice bath, whatever it is that will create the pockets of peace, and showing you that you love yourself, and constantly repeating that to yourself, this is going to start helping you change your self-concept about yourself. The reason why right now you may have this idea about yourself, you may be talking negatively about yourself, maybe you talk positively about yourself, but you're not seeing the results that you want to see. It has to do with your self-concept, and there is something internal that is holding you back. And so these are the things that I did, guys. Literally nothing crazy. I read a lot. I prayed a lot. I held on to God a lot. Like, I'm Muslim, so I prayed, made a lot of du'as. And this past year also, I put on the hijab. And so I just started to really lean into these things. But even with faith, you know, as you make like your du'as and you're praying, you still probably are not seeing, you know, you could probably be somebody who's not seeing any results, because there is a conflict, and that conflict is within you. And that's why self-concept and that self-responsibility and owning that responsibility to take care of yourself, owning the responsibility to make yourself happy, to grow is so important. I think this is where I'm going to end this video. I'm still growing, I'm still reinventing myself, but now it's like I'm continuously, there's this intention and action right after each other, right after each other. And if you guys are not following me already, definitely follow me on TikTok. That's where I'm the most active. And I'm starting up my channel as well, which I'm super excited to share all of the things that helped me along the way. And I'm happy to also just be documenting this journey of reinvention, because you can reinvent yourself anytime. Do not listen to what other people say. Focus, and the best dialogue you need to have is your internal dialogue. Once you start to master that, you're going to start to see so many things shifting and changing in your life. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know what was your best part. Let me know what is maybe a video that you want to see, and I'll be more than happy to share that. And I will see you guys in my next video. So don't forget to do what everyone else says to do. I'm here growing this channel. If you like what you're hearing, come on and subscribe. I'm excited to share more. I'm excited to show up more, and I'm excited to become more and be more. So guys, I will see you in my next video.